Ronald, thank you very much for being with me today and for having this conversation. We were just discussing you're the boss of Uniserver. So tell us about Uniserver. Tell us what it is that the company does and where you're located, the markets you service, and perhaps something about the size.
Yeah, I started the business when I was 17, so still 100% owner, CEO and founder now. Started as a normal hosting company back in the days. So currently the company is 26 years old. And in 2008 we started servicing infrastructure as service, but we are servicing other cloud service providers. So we are a wholesale model. And all the big...
What does wholesale model mean?
We don't service the end customer.
Okay.
So we service the service provider who serves the hospital, who serves the government. So
okay.
We have a partner-centric organization approach. So we are currently with 150 people, but if you extend that to our partner ecosystem, we have 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people working on sales, but also on the operational side. So we are a bit in the heart of the Netherlands of the whole infrastructure there.
Wow, okay. So Netherlands, Benelux, really like pragmatic, down to earth, hard-nosed businessman, focus onto the business and pragmatism. So, I think there are two, I don't want to say opposing, but two diametrically different, let's say, forces. On one hand, you've got the regulatory requirements, okay? You've got the political aspirations and also the push around compliance, data, and all that. And on the other hand, you've got the commercial reality, the need to do business and deliver for your customers. So how do you translate those regulatory requirements and all that, I'll say it, tsunami of regulation that we see coming from Brussels? Yeah. I like you smiling. Into actually something that's both practically, deliverable for the size of your company to your customers and obviously commercially viable.
Yeah, I think we started a lot of years already with a lot of certifications in the Netherlands as well, because we are already doing mission critical infrastructure for the governments and hospitals. So and then 7510, a lot of certifications already in the Netherlands. What we've been seeing the last few years with EUCS, it was a nice start, but that was a bit killed again, of course. But what we've been seeing in our company and also in the Netherlands is that there were already asked for regulations or certifications. And I think the whole sovereign part, and now what's now coming from EU with the CADA, I think it's getting more clear or standardized. Instead of it's more helping our business. Then we need to start over and build a certification because we were already doing it. So
let me drill down a little bit more on what you just said. You mentioned a couple of times public sector, hospitals. So I'm assuming you focus on public sector, healthcare, finance. Okay, so
also retail, but
okay. So give me an idea of the industries, I suppose. I wanted to ask. So
all the industries, what mission critical is. So not we're not doing email hosting or
got it.
SAP, Oracle, everything. What's the primary process of a big agency?
Okay, got it. And the focus is across different critical infrastructures.
Yeah.
So public sector, healthcare, as you said, finance. Retail is less critical infrastructure, perhaps, but
Ensemble, we have a big, very booking example. Okay. That's.
Oh yeah.
It's a bit it's mission critical for the world, I think.
I think so.
If you don't book any hotels anymore, then it's difficult. No, but for them, it's mission critical.
I'm a big customer, so I mean, for my personal use. So, all right. So actually, it's interesting. You are a company that scales in a very dynamic way.
Yeah.
Given your ecosystem. So in order, I mean, what I like to say is that in Europe, the challenge is economics, right? It's not necessarily innovation or technological skill. So scale? Like, if you want to compete with the hyperscalers, is there a need to scale? Are you building your solutions around scale? Is there a market scale issue and the ability to traverse across different borders? What's the challenge?
I think the challenge is of course scaling, and our business model is quite scalable because we tenminste, rely on our partners as well, because they have all the people who do the real end customer support, first line support work. But if you take a look at European, our most difficult part is the mindset of the current situation is that public sector, but all other industries are awoke to get, okay, maybe we need to put something sovereign instead of going to hyperscalers, because that brings in the revenue within Netherlands or Europe, so we can innovate and invest heavily more on the whole infrastructure. So it's a big the chicken and the egg story, but I think that really helps us now to scale more if you compare it in the last 2-3 years.
So is that the thing that, if you like, the greatest value add of GADA, a common, I mean, from your perspective, right? A common definition of sovereignty cutting through across the board, across all Europe, a scalable model against which anyone can benchmark?
I think the standardization and having one clarity of what it is and what sovereign cloud is really helps the industry, but also the customers who are searching for where do I need to go, and if I go to a sovereign cloud provider, am I safe with all the regulations and such. So I think that really helps getting the sales cycle shorter, or even get in those procurement tenders instead of the big hyperscalers.
And because you have positioned yourself in such an, I want to say, advantageous mode position, you know, vis-a-vis the getting the certifications, going through the process, having this compliance mentality first within the organization, that enables you then equally to make sure that the processes, the controls, in a way, if I try to paraphrase what I heard in a different meeting, you know, regulation helps because it drives discipline and budget. Yeah,
true. I think it really helps professionalize also your organization, also your customer in their requirements, but also going forward and standardize also their application. So I think it really helps.
Well, I mean, you're one of our VCF partners. So since we're delivering the foundational technology for some of these capabilities, can you give us an example where a customer situation, let's say, where such a capability made a big difference?
Yeah, I think we're now with a new VCF solution that infrastructure as code is really possible, because a lot of those customers were used to have that in the hyperscalers. And before that, it was, of course, VMware was a suite of a lot of different products, and you needed to build yourself. And now it's one integrated suite, so the customer is, and also if it's a software application or whatever, it can really infrastructure as code to our sovereign cloud as compared to the hyperscalers as well. So the transformation of applications is much easier now to get them also from the hyperscalers.
So it's more feature rich in the sense, or it allows you to expand more the menu of what you want to deliver?
On a level ground, on the same level than before.
Yeah, okay.
So I think that's the right strategy going forward from Broadcom, which really helps us as a European cloud provider.
Going back to the regulation for a moment, you know, we've got now NIS2, you said financial services, DORA, I'm sure, something that you've heard of.
We also have that, yeah.
Yeah, well, I've been working and publishing on DORA. EU AI Act is coming, Cyber Resilience Act. So how is the regulation, and if yes, how is it driving technical decisions?
Oh, good question.
Is it process? Is it technical? Is it architectural? I mean, where do you see the biggest impact?
I don't think it's a technical decision. I think it's more on
process, functionality.
Yeah, process and professionalization of that company, but also the risk assessment.
Okay, please explain.
I think on the risk part, you know if that's if that regulation is is okay, or it has been written good, and you have the companies who are doing that, then you are as a customer, you know that your data and all the controls around it are doing good, or are being audited. So I think that's really good for the industry and also for the customers.
There's one thing about, can you describe yourself as, as we were discussing, infrastructure on top of infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
So one thing is building the infrastructure. One thing is building the bridge, and another thing is actually operating the bridge, making sure that it's clean every day, making sure that the traffic flows naturally. So operating the cloud is a different thing. And especially now that we see more and more demand around artificial intelligence and keeping it compliant. So how does that look like for you, and how much of a drive do you see around AI?
I think it's been a very high increase, and especially also with our company, we also offer AI cloud solutions, sovereign of course. But what we currently seeing is a lot of use cases, and everybody is struggling to get that ROI.
The ROI. Okay,
yeah,
that's interesting.
Still
I want
struggling.
AI, but I don't know how to make.
Yeah,
how to
and what
use
you
it
see
or
is
make
the
money
cost
out
is
of it.
increasing, but the revenue or the optimization isn't coming yet. Especially with the companies we are working with. If you compare it with vibe coding or an ISV, where that ROI is maybe easier. But for a hospital, for example, it's very difficult because you need to optimize business processes instead of just using AI in a chat box. That's not the how do you say it? The solution within your company will save you or optimize your company. So everybody sees the use cases, but everybody is still playing with it, and we haven't seen that big optimization process yet in those companies.
Is it because the transformation
process, I think,
too intense?
Yeah, and not intense, but everybody's struggling how to, because a business process from primary process is very complex with all the workflows. So you need to have that very documented if you want to automate it. Just putting an agent in and you don't have that data or documentation on that workflow, then agent isn't knowing or doesn't know what to do. So.
What is the thing that when the customer comes and says, I want sovereign AI, what's the biggest worry? What is the thing that they're trying to protect from?
It's the data and the lessons they learn from public cloud.
Okay, so it's control of the information and control, if you like, of the confidentiality, intellectual property, that they don't become part of the large
that and all the price increases they got, of course, with the public clouds. They got pulled in with a lot of free credits and all assets. So there's also what we've been seeing in the Netherlands. A lot of big customers also a bit it's not angry is not the right word, but concerned about, okay, if I'm putting AI again in those hyperscalers, then I know my costs will be crazy in the next 3, 5, 6, 7 years. So they are looking more for sovereign, more predictable partners or providers who.
So
technology is not the problem, I think.
So it's the economics and then the innovation on top in terms of you being able to deliver.
And that's serving an AI agents, not training the LLMs or the models. That's a different. That's a technology problem.
That's a compute issue and, and data issue.
That's a problem we have in Europe. But if you have that use case, you can just buy a few GPUs and you can put it in your business process, and you have. So it's really protecting the data.
So can you give me examples of how you operationalize that data protection?
We have also an AI data act in the Netherlands, and we have some healthcare agencies where we need to prove that everything is from top until it's sovereign or it's Dutch in this case. So the data centers, where the data resides, and we need to order that and deliver that to them.
So it's a combination of auditable controls, if you like, standards and procedures to make sure that the rules are followed, I guess.
Yeah.
And then technical controls, if I was to describe it, to make sure that only those that should have access to the data do, and the data doesn't leave outside the ring-fenced perimeter.
Yeah, correct. And it's built on top of already some certification we already have, like ISO 271 and ISA, but we have that add-on of that AA, the data X, so that we can prove that the data will not be sent to your American models, and so it's still in an
confined
in a Dutch
environment.
network environment.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you were, because often the discussion in Brussels when conflating, discussion in Brussels confuses or deliberately mixes up sovereignty with also the concept of technological sovereignty. So essentially a single European Union only set of boxes and technologies and software and stack. So you are delivering a Dutch operated, controlled and located cloud, but you're not doing that only with EU technology, right?
No, and my personal opinion is that if you are going that way, then we are going way too far in sovereignty, in my opinion, because I think sovereignty is also a case of being in control to be independent. And being independent is being in control of your destiny and your data, and being in operational control. And if something goes down, if it's that red button or that kill switch, or it can also be if a data center gets cut off, where are you going to put it up, or how are you going to make sure that your business still and keeps running? I think that's more, in my opinion, a sovereignty strategy discussion than only focusing on the technology and building our own hardware and chips. Then, we are not going to build Dutch cars as well. So why?
But you're basically telling something that I've talked a lot with others as well, that in wearing the Dutch pragmatism hat, if I could say that, the emphasis is on legal control and operational control, and localization, of course, and local presence. And interestingly, local presence with local investment, right? Because you want the skills on the ground to be able to help you. It's not about a single technological stack, because frankly, even if we get it one day, who knows when that will be.
Yeah, and of course, I think you already mentioned in another discussion as well, I think we have an economic problem in Europe as well, also on the sovereign subject. We can build very nice things, but if we don't get that revenue, how are we making money? So we need that innovation and revenue to
keep sustaining this. Exactly. Sustainable business model.
Yeah.
Excellent. Ronald, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.